Look at almost any nation today, and you won't find a single uniform population. You find different communities, speaking different languages, following different religions, all trying to share the same plot of land. And that raises a massive geopolitical question: who actually gets to rule? If one group, usually the largest one, decides to monopolize control and force its will on everyone else, the friction doesn't disappear. The pressure builds until the entire national system is on a path to collapse. Political scientists have a specific solution to this threat. It's called power sharing, the intentional division of authority across different groups. But governments don't hand over authority without a reason. When nations choose to share power, they are driven by two entirely separate logic paths. The first is the calculation of survival, which we call the prudential reason. The second is the pursuit of fairness, known as the moral reason. Identifying which of these two motives drives a government determines whether a divided democracy finds a path to stability or slides toward internal collapse. Let's examine that first motive. This animation shows a balancing scale, constantly adjusting social conflict against government stability. This is the prudential approach. It is a purely practical, cold calculation focused entirely on producing a stable political result. The system is designed with a specific mechanical goal: to ensure no single social group can amass enough leverage to dominate another. To see what happens when this calculation is ignored, we look at a historical case study. This is an archival photo of a bustling street in Sri Lanka, a nation that struggled deeply with these exact dynamics. Following independence, the Sinhalese majority government passed laws that actively marginalized the Tamil minority. They made Sinhala the only official language and favored Sinhalese applicants for university and government jobs, systemically refusing to share political or economic authority. The direct consequence of ignoring that prudential logic was devastating. The tension escalated into a brutal civil war that lasted for decades, costing tens of thousands of lives. The tragedy in Sri Lanka proves that dividing authority to reduce friction isn't an optional luxury. It is a mandatory calculation to prevent national ruin. But there is another way to approach this. When a nation shifts its motivation away from avoiding war and toward the ethical pursuit of equality, we enter the territory of moral power sharing. This is built on a specific ethical foundation. Look at this ballot being cast. It represents the core belief that every single citizen inherently deserves a voice in how they are governed. For a clear modern model of this philosophy, we look to Germany. This is the Reichstag building in Berlin, the home of the German parliament. Inside, in the Bundestag, the physical layout forces major rival political parties into a shared space. Because no single party usually wins an absolute majority, rival factions consistently form coalition governments, drafting shared agendas to rule together. These German factions do not share control because they are terrified of an impending civil war. They do it because giving diverse societal voices an equal say is the right thing to do in a representative system. A government rooted in moral reasons functions as an institution that actively respects human dignity, grounding its authority in the inherent rights of its citizens. Let's put these two philosophies side by side. This matrix lays out the prudential framework on the left and the moral framework on the right. Their primary functions are distinct. The prudential approach actively works to prevent conflict, while the moral approach works to ensure equality. Their ultimate barometers for success differ as well. The prudential logic focuses purely on practical results and stability. The moral logic focuses on the protection of individual and group rights. In the real world, you will often see both frameworks applied at the same time, but understanding their distinctly separate underlying logic helps clarify exactly why governments make the structural decisions they do. Truly healthy, enduring democracy cannot rely on just one of these concepts. It requires both. The prudential calculation acts as a necessary shield. It manages the immediate friction of diverse populations and keeps a country from tearing itself apart today. Meanwhile, the moral conscience acts as the heart. It provides the ethical grounding that makes that country worth living in tomorrow. Think of it like this: time lapse of a suspension bridge. It takes dual structural pillars, perfectly balanced, to support the immense weight of the span. The combination of these two forces creates a system of power sharing that serves as a concrete manifestation of democratic justice. If you want to understand the deeper mechanisms of how our world operates, make sure to subscribe to BIJU at EDUCATOR right here on YouTube. Hit the like button to support the channel, and I'll see you in the next lesson.